Alright guys, continuing our march on through the CD collection. I think this is actually the fourth video that's going to feature bands and projects that start with BL. We're finally getting through the BL section of the collection. It has been a bit of a chore, just picking up where we left off. We're still going with Blood Incantation. This is their latest release entitled Hidden History of the Human Race. This one kind of catapulted Blood Incantation into like superstardom within the OSDM scene. There are tons of Blood Incantation clones and worship bands out there now, but I don't feel like this is their best release, but it is a pretty stellar release nonetheless, and definitely worth a lot of the praise that they're getting with that. Next up, this is a Canadian death metal band. I got this out of Metalhead Box. That's kind of a theme. When you hear me saying this Canadian band, there's a good chance they came from Metalhead Box. This one's okay. It's not anything special. This is The Blood of Christ with Unrelenting Declivity of Anguish. When you have bands with super edgy names, super edgy album titles, especially in these days, I think it's kind of it worries me sometimes before I actually hear the music. I feel like they're trying too hard to be obscene, and they're not focusing enough on the music. I mean, this isn't bad. It's not something that I find myself returning to very often in the collection. Changing gears a little bit, we have some Blackened funeral doom metal from Bine Rune Recordings. This is Blood of the Black Owl, and this is their debut full length. This one is self-titled, and it's probably one of my favorite, if not my favorite, release from this project. Very dark sounding stuff. It's very brooding, evil sounding stuff, but I dig this quite a bit. Fits in pretty perfect with some of the aesthetic that they have going on over there on Bine Rune Recordings, especially kind of the earlier offerings up from Bine Rune. This is it's pretty spot on with what they had going there. Next up, we have Blood of the Black Owl with A Feral Spirit. I dig this one quite a bit as well. Unfortunately, I only own the first three full lengths from Blood of the Black Owl, so I need to change that. I think they've got at least two more albums that have come out, and I just have not gotten around to picking those up. And then last but not least, we have a Banishing Ritual. This one's going to be kind of hard to. Well, the camera's actually picking up the cover art a little bit better than I expected it to, because it's very dark and it's on this kind of glossy, digi. There we go. This one's pretty good as well. Just more of that kind of Blackened funeral doom goodness there. So good stuff there from Blood of the Black Owl. I really dig that project. I need to get on the ball and pick up some of their newest material. Next up, we have Bloodbath, Swedish death metal, featuring Mikael from Opeth. This is Breeding Death. This was their, I think, debut EP. Pretty good. In true Mikael fashion. Get something good death metal driven project going, and then either changes direction from death metal or leaves, and he left this project. I honestly think the material that followed his departure is better than the material that he was a part of with Bloodbath, if we're just going to be completely honest. Next up, we have Nightmares Made Flesh from Bloodbath. This was the I think first release that they put out without Mikael in the project, and I dig this one quite a bit. Released on Century Media. Next up, we have Bloodbath with the Fathomless Mastery. Pretty good one here. I think I like this one, and the next one I'm going to show the best out of all of the Bloodbath releases. It's in this kind of digi hardback hard book It's still got. I bought this secondhand, and who I bought it from put the hype sticker on the digipack, and I'm kind of scared to take that off because I'm afraid it will damage the kind of cardboard backing there. So I'm not quite sure why they did that. Next up, we have Bloodbath with the Grand Morbid Funeral. As I said, these were my two favorite releases from Bloodbath. And if you saw me move something over, it was just the fact that I have two copies of this. I didn't feel the need to show it twice. So I wasn't trying to skip albums in the collection or anything. I mean, I will have some embarrassing stuff come up, but I will go ahead and show those as well. I mean, it's all a part of my collection, so I feel it a little embarrassing, but at the same time, it's not because it's stuff that I enjoy. So that's it for Bloodbath. But I know I'm missing a few of their releases, but I've got kind of the high points and stuff that I find myself wanting to return to anyway. Next up, we have some old school death metal out of Argentina. I think this was released in 2011. They've put out, yeah, it says right here, 2011. They put out a 2 or 3 full lengths after this. I really need to get on the ball and pick up some more of the material because I really do enjoy this full length here. This was released on Disembodied Records, and this is Blood Fiend with Under the Evil Command. Pretty solid, just slab of old school sounding death metal. These guys out of Argentina really hit the nail on the head with this one. I was surprised with how good this was. I've heard bits and pieces of some of their later material, and it all sounds pretty solid as well. So I definitely want to get my hands on some more Blood Fiend material. Kind of make a mental note to pick up some more of their stuff in the future. Next up, this I'm pretty sure I got this in a Willow Tip Records grab bag. This is Blood Freak with Mindscraper. This is death metal. There's some grindy, little bits of grindy goodness rolled into this as well. I keep saying that well, not anymore, but there was quite a bit of time where I kept telling myself I was going to check out more from Blood Freak because I did enjoy this quite a bit. I just never got around to doing it. I mean, this is a pretty solid release. It's pretty good. I do enjoy it. I don't know why. I just never got around to checking out more of their material because, judging from this, I'm sure it would be pretty good. So, I think they put that album in every one of those Willow Tip grab bags as well. Speaking of embarrassing stuff, here we go. I got this for 75 cents at a thrift store. This is the Bloodhound Gang with Hooray for Boobies. A bit of nostalgia tied up in this release for me. Obviously, it is not metal at all. It's just pop. It's kind of raunchy type stuff. But there's just, as I said, a bit of nostalgia wrapped up in this release. I mean, it's funny for what it is. It's very sophomoric, very juvenile. But moving on. Next up, this is one that I got out of my most recent Relapse Records grab bag. That one was chock full of post-rock, post-metal, sludgy type stuff, and this is no different. This is Bloodiest with their self-titled. This is one that I have actually opened up and listened to out of that newest grab bag box. As we probably, in the months and possibly a year that we're still going through the CD collection, those Relapse stuff from that last grab bag will be popping up in the collection, and there's a lot of that I haven't even opened yet that just I have not had the desire to listen to. This one, I still got the little top thing that goes on the top. I'm trying to keep it complete, I guess. This one, I mean, it feels like some straight Tool rip-off / worship at times. The music isn't bad. I mean, I liked what I've heard so far. I haven't just listened to a ton of it, but I'm just one of those, if I want to listen to something that sounds like Tool, which really at this point in the game isn't that often anymore, but when that mood hits, I would just listen to Tool. So I don't know, but next up, this is a metalcore. This is the Bloodline with We Are One. This is the only release that they put out under the Bloodline moniker. They were Dirge Within leading up to this, and then Germs left the band or was booted from the band. I'm not sure what exactly went on there. They continued on, released this under the Bloodline name, and then I think eventually went back to Dirge Within before splitting up. Yeah, this is commercial, radio friendly metalcore. Yeah, that's what it is. So nothing just super special on that, but there we go. Next up, we have some brutal death metal from Gorehouse Productions. This is Bloodscribe with Prologue to the Apocalypse. This is the only full length that Bloodscribe has put out thus far. This one's pretty good. Has a few little kind of deathcore elements going on in it as well, but I dig this quite a bit. As you can see, I've worn this digipack out just from plays, and carrying it with me in the car, well, in the truck and in the car. So next up, we have Bloodsoaked with Religious Apocalypse. This is the only release that I own from Bloodsoaked. This is an EP, but this is probably, despite there only being 3 original tracks on this is probably my favorite Bloodsoaked release, and it's the only one that I've sought out to actually pick up. I wouldn't mind owning some more of their material, but I don't know. There's just something about this. They've got a Cinderella cover, a Rat cover, a live track, 4 live tracks, but then it has the 3 original tracks on this as well. But just solid. I don't know. Something about this EP just sucked me in, and it's my favorite release, as I said, from Bloodsoaked. I wouldn't mind owning some more of the material, just brutal, heavy, nasty type stuff there. Next up, we have some more death metal. This is Bloodstrike with In Death We Rot. I believe this was their debut full length. This was released on Redefining Darkness. Pretty good. The follow up to this is stellar. I need to get my hands on that follow up. I do not have a copy of it, and I guess that's another mental note. I don't know, with the way that finances are at the moment, it may be a while before I can start hunting out material like that. But good stuff there from Bloodstrike. Next up, we have a band out of Norway. This is Bloodthorn with Onwards into Battle. They started out as black metal, and then they kind of morphed into Blackened Death before settling into this like death metal, pure, almost complete death metal sound. Then you have bits and pieces of black metal kind of seeping through from here and there. This is in that kind of death metal realm of their material. This one is pretty good. Actually, I think I like just about everything that Bloodthorn has put out, regardless of genre tag that it's going for at that time. I do enjoy a bit of everything that they put out. Next up, we have Bloodthorn with Genocide. I believe this was their last full length that they put out. This is more of that kind of death metal vein. War driven. Very this album sounds what I would expect War to feel like. I don't know. I guess you could take that as a good thing or a bad thing. I'm sure War is hell, and that's kind of the emotion that is captured within this release. Next up, this one's kind of funny, and it's interesting that it lands right here in the CD collection, because I bought this one by accident. Apparently, I can't read. This is Bloodthorn, and I thought I was adding something to my Bloodthorn collection. I was like, man, I've never seen that before, so I went ahead and bought it. And this is Bloodthorn. This is a blackened death metal out of Kentucky. This is Shield of Hate. This is the only release that I own from Bloodthorn. I still almost say Bloodthorn when I listen to it. I mean, when I talk about it. This isn't bad. After I got over the initial shock of it sounding completely different than Bloodthorn, it wasn't bad at all. After I realized what was going on and my own mistake, I kind of dig it. So I may at some point seek out some more Bloodthorn material as well. Next up, we have some kind of gothy hard rock / doom metal at times. This is Bloody Hammers with Lovely Sword of Death. There goes the demonetization for the video. Pretty good. Only release that I own from Bloody Hammers. I wouldn't mind owning some more of their material. They are kind of an acquired taste, but I do dig this release quite a bit. Next up is one that I have not opened. You will see some stuff like this as I was speaking earlier, like the relapse stuff. This came in a Bridge 9 Records grab bag, and that's a label that primarily releases hardcore, and that's I'm not the biggest hardcore person, and I just haven't. I listened to a few tracks of this on YouTube, and I mean it was just kind of run of the mill hardcore, which in my opinion isn't worth writing home about. Anyway, this is a Blue Monday with Rewritten. At some point, I may break the seal on this and give it a spin. Give it the attention that it deserves. I don't know. Eventually I'll get there or rehome it. It's not doing me any favors just sitting here in the plastic, but at the same time, it wouldn't be doing me any favors listening to something that I don't enjoy when I have so much other stuff that I could be listening to. In that same line, this one's funny. This is another one of those embarrassment type albums. This is Blue October with Foiled. I actually saw these guys live, and they were absolutely terrible. They opened for Stained. My wife is a huge Stained fan, so I took her to see them play in St. Louis several years ago, and Blue October opened. I wanted to be somewhat familiar with the band, aside from what you hear mainly on the radio, and this album was just mainly the stuff that you hear on the radio. So I mean, it's not a terrible release, but the fact that they were so awful live didn't do them any favors as far as me ever wanting to revisit that album. Next up, this is one that I picked up at an antique mall. This is Blue Oyster Cult with On Flame with Rock and Roll. Got this for $1, which I thought was an absolute steal. It still has the price tag on the back there. And the CD was in very solid shape. I was worried with it coming from an antique mall, just sitting in a booth. A lot of times those CDs, like the disc will be missing out of it. Either somebody just come through and swipe the disc, or it's stuff that's just been completely obliterated, especially when you have older stuff. This one was released in 1990, so I mean, this CD's been floating around for 20 years. The fact that it was in such good shape and I got it for $1, no complaints from me there whatsoever. Next up, we have some grindcore. This is Blue Trina with Loony Fucking Grind. This is grindcore out of Romania, and it is just that. It is loony effing grind. I mean, that's exactly what it is. The perfect album title for this. It's goofy. It's fun. It doesn't overstay its welcome. Comes in under 30 minutes for the full length. I think it doesn't have track numbers on the back, but if I remember correctly, I'm wanting to say there's about 18 tracks on this, but it is a pretty good release. I did enjoy it more than I was expecting to. I thought it was just going to be just ridiculous. I mean, it is ridiculous, but I thought it was just going to be run-of-the-mill generic grind, but there is some substance behind that despite it being goofy. Next up, we have some noise rock. This is Body Choke with Cold River Songs. This was a nice surprise out of a relapse grab bag. I know I dog on those grab bags sometimes, but this is one that I had never heard of coming into getting that grab bag, and I didn't have high hopes for it once I saw that it was a noise rock type project, and I listened to it, and I absolutely dug this quite a bit. The CD is missing out of the case. I don't know where the CD is right now. It may be in my truck or in another CD case that I will find as we go through this video. It's got to be around here somewhere. I'm just not sure where I placed it, but I do enjoy that Body Choke album, so I need to find that CD ASAP. Next up, we have some atmospheric, sludgy type stuff out of Vermont. This is Body Void with their EP entitled "You Will Know the Fear You Forced Upon Us." I think I featured this early on in I possibly featured this early in the 7 Deadly Spin series. If not, I know I purchased this from Jagger Jones, the eBay seller that I do several videos, unboxings, and that type of stuff from. I recently picked up their newest full length. It's not going to be in this CD collection because it is a new release that I got shelved in a different part of the shelving. So, but good stuff there. Good atmospheric, sludgy type stuff. The last two are both going to be the same band. This is black metal out of Rhode Island. This is Bog of the Infidel, and this EP is entitled "To Corrupt Your Sons and Lust After Your Daughters." Just raunchy, blackened stuff, as you can see there from the artwork. There's another, I guess, demonetization strike. I'll let y'all look at that one more time. I mean, everybody loves boobies. And then I also have the follow-up to that full length from Bog of the Infidel, entitled "Asleep in the Arms of Suicide." This one's pretty good as well. Just very as the album. Let me try that again. As the album title would kind of make you think that it is just dark theme type stuff. Black metal has some death elements here and there as well, but decent band there out of Rhode Island. That's all I've got for this one. I've been on a roll. Hopefully I'll keep these going, and hopefully we'll be through the bees before too long. This has been a very huge undertaking, just going through this CD collection. But I will see you guys very soon. I promise.